Parents, relatives, friends, distinguished guests, teachers, and staff, welcome to the 46th commencement ceremony of Northern Highlands Regional High School. Bagpipers Mr. Hans Cunningham and Mr. Klon Naval will lead the class of 2012, escorted by faculty advisors to the class, Mrs. Robin Burton and Mrs. Michelle Zangoli. Also leading the class is our District Teacher of the Year, Mr. Greg DiLorenzo. The band, under the direction of Ms. Theodora Soteropoulos, will now begin our processional. Please stand as we present the class of 2012. Please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem, performed by Highlands Voices under the direction of Mr. Thomas Pastor.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of
most welcome. What are you waiting for me? The crowds will cheer when they see my face, and a voice keeps saying, this is where I'm meant to be. I'll be there someday. I can go the distance. I will find my way. If I can be strong, I know every mile would be worth my while. When I go the distance, I'll be right where I belong. Down an unknown road to embrace my fate, though that road may wander, lead me to you, and 1,000 years would be worth the wait. It might take a lifetime, but somehow I'll see it through, and I won't look back. I will go the distance. I will stay on track. No, I won't accept defeat. It's an uphill slope, but I won't lose hope till I go the distance and my journey is complete. But to look beyond the glory is the hardest part, for hero's strength is measured by his heart. Like a shooting star, I will go the distance, search the world, I will face its heart. I don't care how far, go the distance till I find my hero's welcome waiting in your arms. I will search the world. I will face its arms till I find my hero's welcome waiting in your arms.
I'm pleased to introduce to you Class Council member, Miss Olivia Domage.
Welcome, friends, families, faculty, administration, and graduates. I'm honored to be standing in front of my peers and all of the people who have contributed to the success and education of our exceptional graduating class. Throughout my 4 years at Highlands, I feel that I can reflect on a lot of aspects of our school because I've tried to get involved in a myriad of ways. The programs offered, from the music department to athletics and language clubs to student council, have certainly shaped my Highlands experience. But it isn't the programs that I'm going to miss. It's the people. For the rest of our lives, we're going to be surrounded by people better than us, smarter than us, quicker, smoother, thinner than us, friendlier than us, more ingenuous than us, and different than us. The most important words I can leave you with today are not to push these people away. Rather, seek them out and embrace them. Learn from yourself and learn from those around you. There are so many things that I'll miss about this school, but whenever I think back to it, all I see are faces. In a technological world, never underestimate the power of personal presence, and always look first for the best in people before drawing conclusions about them. No matter where life takes us, Don't lose sight of yourself and what you love. In the great words of the late Senator Ted Kennedy, sure, there'll be storms along the way, and you might not reach your goal right away. But if you do your best and keep a true compass, you'll get there. Keep that compass, and if you lose it for a moment or two, don't ever hesitate to ask others for directions. Congratulations to the class of 2012.
Next, I invite our class speaker, Mr. Nuj Shabra, to the podium.
Hello, friends, families, friends, administration, faculty, and fellow students. It is a privilege to speak before you today. Before I go any further, however, I would just like to say how utterly nervous I am and how your laughing at the appropriate moments may be the only thing preventing me from having a stroke on stage. Good. I often think back to my last summer day, the one before my first day at Northern Highlands. Many of my classmates had recently made Facebook pages, and I remember talking to my classmate, Haley Murdoch, and hearing how excited she was about entering high school. The parties, the new people, the freedom, she seemed to be saying. Personally, I was petrified. Perhaps I'd watched Mean Girls one too many times and held unreasonable expectations, but I pictured swirlies and getting thrown into my lockers in my near future. I'm a bit disappointed myself in that I come without any heroic stories of fighting off an upperclassman swirly attack like I once feared. While I thought staying anonymous behind the masses was the smartest thing to do, I've come to see how much people appreciate new opinions and individualism. I've come to realize that I was wrong in what I was anticipating and fearing before I started at Highlands. In other words, I'm proud to say that Highlands is a swirly-free environment. Now to fast forward almost 4 years, I went to my college's accepted students' days during April break. I'm not exactly sure how, but a friend and I found ourselves in a Latin dance club on Friday night. Being underage and not knowing anyone else there, we went to the back and talked. I had known that my friend Callie was smart. I remembered her mentioning that she had won the university scholarship, and so I assumed she went to a prestigious high school. I was wrong. Callie lives in rural Ohio and lifeguards until 10 o'clock every night before starting her schoolwork, which can last until 2 or 3 in the morning. While her parents constantly pressured her to stay local or even skip college and start a family, as many of her friends are doing, she did only what she thought was right. She took community college classes such as multivariable calculus and performed exceedingly well in them. She now has a full ride to college, the admiration of many people, and an infinitely bright future. I came back from my weekend at college amazed. I had never met someone like Callie. I wasn't impressed because she was hardworking. I know many people like that. It was that she had rebelled against a system that didn't make sense to her, even when her parents pushed it. When I returned to Highlands the next week, I realized something. Now for the second time, I had been wrong. Ask my mother, it happens quite often. I've met many Callies in my time here. I've met many people who've taken an unusual road to accomplish their goals, such as seeking acceptance into a specific university or following an unconventional career path. My friend PJ Alpinop dreamed of going to the University of Vermont since his first visit in 8th grade. He worked tirelessly, playing both varsity soccer at Highlands and club soccer year-round to improve his game. While fielding offers from some of the country's top colleges, PJ waited on Vermont and quickly accepted when they offered him a position on their soccer team. Instead of basing his decision on ranking, he based it on fit, choosing the place where he will succeed. Another classmate, Fran Fasciola, an insane artist, is going to the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan next year. While majoring in illustration, she will pursue freelance work in her extra time. Jack Brady was inspired by the loss of his uncle in the catastrophic events of 9/11. He has since distinguished himself as a model citizen, spending hours volunteering with the fire department and Saddle River Valley Rescue. Next year, he will be attending the University of South Carolina on a full Marine NROTC scholarship and will graduate a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps. Similarly, Tara Mastriano will be attending the U.S. Military Academy Prep School and West Point the following year. Both students, by electing to take a direct path into the armed forces, have clearly rebelled from the typical Highlander. Not all of my classmates have deviated so far from the norm. Regardless, whether involving sports, the arts, or simply a desired major, my fellow Highlanders have set goals and overwhelmingly succeeded in achieving them. And when I look back, it is these kids who carved their own path instead of being carved by the path who I'm most in awe of. To the Highland students who I've had the opportunity to go to school with for the past 4 years, please, keeping your outgoing, sometimes obnoxious selves, exceeding your own expectations, and obviously, pumping your fists instead of your gas next year. Make Snooky proud. In a mere 18 years, every single one of us has created our own distinct identity, friends, and ambitions. Over the course of the next 4 years, these intangibles will only become more and more concrete, and the only thing still tying the 355 of us together will be our undying Highlander spirit, the spirit of rebellion, the spirit of thinking independently of our temporary environment. It's something to be proud of. Cherish it. I'm lucky to have been in your company for 4 years, and I hope you won't forget your silly Indian friend. Congratulations.
On June 7th, we recognized 75 seniors at our senior award ceremony. The names and awards are listed in your program. We have some additional awards to present tonight. Our assistant principal, Mr. Michael Koth, will assist with the presentation of the awards. Our valedictorian, Ms. Jennifer Garand. Our salutatorian, Mr. Stephen Gorin. Our Distinguished Service Award, Nisha Chojar.
And now at this time, Mr. Ochino will present our Principal's Award, which is in recognition of 4 years of perfect attendance. Our first recipient is Christine Baracavoli. Christian Clark. Spencer Cylinder. Stephen Gorin. Alexander Harais. Robert Inglima III. John Jablonski. Eric McCarthy. Brittany Meyer. William Olszewski. Bryant Shapiro. Laura Tantillo. Stephanie Thomas. Maria Ugarte. And Grace Yang.
Thank you, Mr. Coate, for your assistance. Congratulations to our award recipients. I would also like to take this time to thank our Buildings and Grounds crew for all their assistance in setting up our field for our ceremony and for making our facilities look so magnificent. Thank you. I would also like to thank my assistant, Bernadette Ricker, for her attention to detail and all the planning that goes into our graduation ceremony. It certainly is no easy task. Our high school office staff of Judy Jewett, Lori Gemke, and Mary Jean Badalamenti must also be acknowledged for their help. My sincere thanks to everyone. At this time, our concert choir seniors will sing Love Psalm, directed by Mr. Thomas Pastor.
Days come, days go. We try to take the time to let love grow. Don't ignore the sands of time. Just let a little love in yours and mine. Friends come and friends will go. The ones that last a lifetime savor so. Life flows on, so sublime, but only if we stop and take some time. Every season, listen to the rhythm of the earth and sky. The rhyme and the reason of living in today while thinking of tomorrow. Days pass and nights unfold. The innocence of youth becomes the wisdom of the old. We must remember love and once again we learn to live a life we love.
Recently, at one of our award programs, a parent expressed to me her thanks for providing her son with a well-rounded education. She went on to say how appreciative she was for the safe, nurturing, and disciplined learning environment that Northern Highlands provides. I paused for a moment and I said that Northern Highlands is indeed a special place because of our dedicated and highly professional staff and the consistent leadership that has been together for quite some time. That being said, it gives me great pleasure to ask our superintendent, Mr. John Keenan, to present the class of 2012.
As we listen to our speakers tonight and reminisce, I'm sure we can find quick agreement that 4 years sounds much longer than it is. You graduate today, but you are part of a commencement ceremony. Commencement meaning to begin. So as you begin the next phase of your life, take time to compliment yourselves on your tremendous achievements. Be proud. You've earned it. We thank you for your individual and collective contributions to our school. You're leaving Northern Highlands a better place than when you arrived, and so many of you have served as outstanding role models for all those that will follow you. Just as these past years were not always easy, you'll face many challenges in your future. Remember that one thing will remain constant: the undying love of your family and your friends. Please call upon their support often in the next years, and remember, because of them, you will never be alone. Personally, I consider it an honor to have served you as principal and now superintendent. I hope that you look back at your years at Northern Highlands with very fond memories. My role today is a very simple one, but most important. Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby certify that all students present here today have met and exceeded the New Jersey requirements for a high school diploma. Congratulations.
You know, sometimes I get so excited about all these programs and wonderful ceremonies that I jump the gun. So thank you, Mr. Keenan, for your wonderful remarks. But at this time, I'd like to introduce our class speaker, Miss Amanda Levin, to say a few words as well.
2 years ago, my parents sat me down at the kitchen table and told me the worst news a teenager wants to hear. We're moving. So many questions circulated through my mind as I tried to control the newly established rage that I now had against my parents. But there was no room for negotiations or pleas to allow me to stay at the high school that I had grown so accustomed to. That was that. We were moving. I would be the new girl. Nightmarish images clouded my mind as I imagined my new life at Northern Highlands. I would enter the jungle-like cafeteria on the first day of school with all eyes pointed on me. I would trip and fall in front of my classmates. I would not be able to keep up in my classes. I would say, do, and wear the wrong thing, instantly becoming the subject of public mockery. And so, on the first day of my junior year of high school, I pulled up to this massive new school and braced myself for the worst. And here I stand. I made it out alive. I did not trip and fall. I did keep up in my classes, and I have slowly begun to forgive my parents. Change. Where would I be without it? I have absolutely no idea. What I do know is that first day that I stepped foot into the school, I made a promise to myself that I would embrace the newness that was to come and not back away from it. And I believe that it is this promise that has brought me to the point that I am at today. Every opportunity I approached as an open door to new possibilities. Every obstacle and hardship that I faced last year, and believe me, there were many, I blew through at full force. The changes that I came across forced me to breach the comfort of familiarity and open up to new perspectives, ideas, and ways of life. I am not the same person that I was that first day of junior year. I am a person that has been shaped by the magnitude of changes that I have faced these past 2 years, the brilliant and insightful students and friends, the advice and guidance of teachers, the plethora of differing classes and activities offered, and the helpful school administration. 2 years ago, I never would have imagined that the girl who so strongly opposed transferring schools would find herself so happily adjusted, accomplished, and not ready to leave. Several weeks ago, I was on the phone with the girl I'll be rooming with next year at college. We touched on the typical topics of our intended majors, our friends, and even our favorite colors. But we also found ourselves falling into a deep discussion about moving away. This was when it hit me. I would once again be moving away from my home and all that I knew. Of course, I've known for quite some time that I would be leaving for college come August. But the literal aspect of moving, of leaving the safety and comfort of my parents' home, of entering a world in which I solely would be responsible for all my decisions and actions, was not something that had crossed my mind until that day on the phone. And so, my fellow classmates, as I stand here before you, I cannot refute the point that change is scary, but I can say that it is okay to be afraid. As we look to the future with a wave of both excitement and panic, I can only urge you to see the great number of opportunities that arise from change. I hope that you see the next 4 years and the rest of your lives as a sea of changes, each wave making its individual mark on your being. Do not look at this graduation as a departure from the known. Instead, see it as an adventure into an arena of endless possibilities. Congratulations, class of 2012. Thank you.
It is with great pride that I introduce to you our salutatorian, Mr. Stephen Gorin.
Upon hearing I was supposed to give a speech, I feared I would be unable to decide what to talk about. I first thought about basketball, but Coach Stone has done more than enough this year to praise the guys. Besides, very few people here would enjoy listening to me gush about the beauty of Brandon's inspiring defense, Joey's incredible handles, or Bobby's ferocious 360 jams. I could try to offer advice for the future, but seeing as we are all roughly the same age, I'm not sure what would qualify me to do this. If you're looking for advice, I would suggest asking someone far older and more experienced than I. Because I cannot predict the future, I think it is best if I recall the past. One of the largest parts of my high school life was my daily interactions with teachers. I have understood for a while now that teachers are people who have lives outside of the school building. But because they were responsible not only for teaching in the classroom, but also for assigning homework, giving grades, and reporting troublemakers, I always thought it was in my best interest to be on good terms with all of them and never criticize, even if I was not enthralled by every topic they covered or disagreed with how they handled certain situations. Regardless of how I felt at home, in public, I treated all teachers with absolute reverence. I was reluctant to pester adults about anything. I just put my head down and did my work. Some teachers at school stress the importance of asking questions. This is supposed to help us be independent and not just blindly accept what the books tell us. While I have seen many students embrace this approach to learning, I have seen others use this method to question much more than an analysis written in a textbook. Many here help me see that students can challenge more than only what they are told to challenge. I want to recognize students who not only question the academic world, but also have the guts to question the teachers themselves. Thanks to those who joined me to challenge Mr. Wachowski about his views on the greatest failure of Grant's presidency. To those who are not afraid to force Mr. Mises to defend his own criticism of a public official, or try to get him to admit that he has been wrong more than just once. To those who made Mr. DiLorenzo justify the use of his shiny new tablet. To every map of Poland placed on one of Mr. Kaminsky's papers. To those either brave or dumb enough to ask Mrs. Scrivenich to explain the complexities of the fake interest rate. To those who rolled their eyes when Mr. Trotter ordered them to put their goggles back on or they would get a 0, regardless of how hard they would work at lunch to find someone who knew exactly what happened to the magnesium when it burned. To anyone who had a heated debate with Mrs. M about the validity of a true or false question, or who successfully got her to discuss ancient Roman prostitution instead of how to conjugate verbs. And finally, to the few who joined me so long ago to salute the Brookside lunch aides on the way to recess. All these acts of rebellion, no matter how small, help show me that the world does not end when a student disagrees with a teacher. A good class occurs when a human teacher, who is susceptible to the same imperfections as the rest of us, attempts to get a bunch of kids to learn. The teacher does not have absolute control. Students can challenge authority. They can indeed disagree with everything from an instructor's mannerisms to the opinion of a dignified scholar. I want to thank you guys for using the healthy skepticism you have developed to confront everything, including the adults who appear to have so much power. Without you, school would not have been anywhere near as exciting. That's it.
Thank you, Stephen. Before we distribute diplomas, I would like to thank our Board of Education for approving and supporting the resources that are necessary for providing a quality education for our students. At this time, Mrs. Barbara Garand, Board of Education President, would like to share a few words. Mrs. Garand.
On behalf of the Board of Education, I'd like to welcome everyone to this year's graduation at Northern Highlands. Seniors, you have accomplished some wonderful things during your 4 years here, and I'm confident you will continue to do so during your college years. Sometimes we look towards outward marks of achievement, but as you move on to college or careers, I'd like you to look at each day a little differently, the way the famed author Robert Louis Stevenson did. He said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant." Sometimes that can be difficult, as society tells us to judge by the harvest, but many of you are already planting seeds. You've planted seeds of hope by collecting prom dresses for girls in New York City. You've planted, some have traveled to New Orleans or Boston or even Peru to plant seeds of a promise of a better life. Some have planted seeds of encouragement, working with younger children and tutoring them, mentoring freshmen through the Transition Project, or teaching soccer to autistic children. You've begun to plant seeds, and you might not see the fruits of your labors, ever, because the flowers may bloom when you're not around. The teachers who sit at the ends of each of these rows do that every single day, and they may never see the results of their efforts. Your parents and grandparents have been planting seeds in you since the day you were born, loving you, encouraging you, and giving you hope for a wonderful future. As you move into a new life setting, I hope you too will become the planters of such seeds and look to leave something lasting wherever you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Duran. Now it is time to award our diplomas. The names of our graduates will be read by class advisors, Mrs. Robin Burton and Mrs. Michelle Zangoli. Diplomas will be distributed by the trustees of the Northern Highlands Board of Education.
Sarah E. Miller. Audrey Catherine Lee. Trilby F. Norton. Hyun-Hae Park. Taylor Peeney. Alexa Gabriela Retta. Kimia Sadeghi. Claudia Nicole Salinas. Dana Joan Simendinger. Alexandra Georgette Solomon. Betty Varghese. Jacqueline Ann Vinciguerra.
Garen Anthony Lashkajian. Armand Krikor Bayajian. Spencer Benjamin Cylinder. Alexander Nolasco. Santiago Regoza. Hart Addison Savino. Zachary James Zanone. Zachary L. Ashley. Eric M. Benoit. Kevin David Bowe. Alexander Frank Corsillo. Thomas Michael Kiley.
Taylor Nicole Wolf. Aksa Abraham. Brittany Jade Bologna. Christine Marie Badacavoli. Christina Michelle Chaconis. Ashley Elizabeth Deal. Nicole Ashley Estero. Elizabeth Elaine Hirschman. Elizabeth's diploma will be presented by her father, Dr. Gerald Hirschman, our school physician. Nikitha Karkala. Joan Yu Young Lee. Brianne Thompson Martin. Kylan Rose O'Shea.
Christopher L. Dotto. Michael William Dunnigan. Michael Richard Gard. Adam Elias Morcos. Juan Kyung Steve Rowe. Wesley Shee. Mark E. Vaccaro. John Powers. Christopher J. Powers. Paul Harry Appleknap. Alan F. Beleza. Richard A. Brooke.
Eileen Gabrielle Stern. Taylor Ann Summers. Jenna Wasserman. Cassandra B. Weissman. Alice On. Christine Bader. Kristen Emily Carter. Alexander Cavagrati. Kimberly Nicole Crowley. Francesca A. Faciola. Chanel Garcia. Irina Gratola.
Jared Miles Brover. Jack David Diana. Christian Sergio DeSiglia. William J. Kim. William Nicholas Saturno. Adrian Thomas McDermott. Lucas Morgan. Dylan Gardner Myers. Stephen H. Rubino. Alex Temez. Alan Thomas Tischbein. Alexander William Butler.
Taylor Jordan Ibelli. Helen Maria Carciotis. Gina Michelle Carvelis. Diana Michelle Lagamarcino. Nicole Lee. Jacqueline Louise Livingstone. Demetria A. McEntee. Anna Montagny. Emma Rachel Monroe. Haley Mackenzie Murdoch. Lizette Rose Palella. Andrea Mary Portanova.
Stephen John Carter. Alan Michael Castillo. Anuj Rakesh Chhabra. Austin C. Coiro. Stephen George DeBella. James Harrison Fabry. Philip Joseph Fiorenzo. Daniel Kenneth Fiore. Brian Gilchrist. Joseph Donald Gray. Robert J. Inglima III. Robert's diploma will be presented by his father, Robert Inglima Sr., a former Board of Ed member. Chris Michael Katsantonis.
Barry Rachel Silvershine. Caitlin Nicole Sussman. Laura Marie Tantillo. Samantha Kate Unger. Lyda Rachel Weinstock. Netta A. Ameri. Victoria Ray Balzano. Grace Elizabeth Dolan. Gabrielle Lee Florence. Gabrielle L. Frasco. Hannah Lily Giannotto. Chelsea A. Golub.
James B. Lee. Alexander Anthony Martini. Ryan Joseph McElraith. Robert C. Moran. Michael Motaki. Thomas James Nordquist. Andrew Thomas Rakozak. Andrew's diploma will be presented by his mother, Laura Excellence faculty. Andrew Michael Sachs. Jared Gordon Sonnet. William J. Taylor. Stephen Daniel Lewis Viola. William C. Zoller.
Stacy Louise Heath. Rachel Amanda Kaplan. Ariana K. Katritsis. Lacey Larkin. Anna Ruth Lavallo. Emily Margaret Mason. Jordan Lee Mendelson. Samantha Nicole Merrill. Catherine Amanda Peebles. Alyssa Ann Skull. Abigail Alejandra Suff. Stephanie Page Thomas.
James Dylan Bryan. Robert John Saporito. Richard Louis Saporito. Andrew Dong. Anthony Joseph Fortuna. Jason R. Friedman. Corey Allen Glass. Scott G. Halpern. John Edward Jablonski. Thomas Kim. Hyun Jong Lee. Nicholas E. Maxow.
Kelly Ann Trainer. Samantha Kate Walter. Grace E. Yang. Alexandra Abatante. Kristen Abatante. Jessica Lee Abrams. Chelsea Marie Andrews. Emily Azneev Barsamian. Molly T. Bascio. Claudia Marie Batarside. Annie Forrester Curtis. Jennifer Ashley Garand. Jennifer's diploma will be presented by her mother, Barbara Garand, President of our Board of Education.
Nicholas J. Mastrangelo. Brian Riley Morrow. Christian Thomas Murkowski. Seth Christopher Richard Nicholas. Michael John O'Reilly. Sora Osuka. Nicholas Perez. Ryan Primrose. Naoya Raita. Patrick J. Rehane. Claudio L. Riva. Eric Thomas Sibbald.
Kristen Marie Garbarini. Marissa Joy Houseman. Caitlin Ray Henderson. Rena Im. Claudia Constance Kim. Amanda Rachel Levin. Tara Marie Mastriano. Margaret Elizabeth Mulder. Gloria Marie Norton. Sue Young Park. Adriana Rodriguez. Vanessa Marie Rodriguez.
Taylor John Smith. James Richmond Windsor Temple. William Jonathan Sedillis. Christopher James Rogan Dewey. William Zarichta. Julian Gareth Nathaniel Arendt. Nicholas John Aversano. Tyler J. Cantone. Ryan David Flynn. Adam Matthew Friedman. Nicholas G. Greenthaler. Michael Joshua Howitzer.
Emily Louise Sutcliffe. Melissa Taylor Valente. Nicole Natalie Waterhouse. Megan Rose Weiss. Jennifer Nicole Yaman. Veronica Apson. Emma Antoinette Bolton. Erica E. Braun. Nisha Maya Chojar. Carly Blake Freed. Rachel H. Hahn. Jacqueline Ann Insera.
Jeffrey Nathaniel Harris. James Patrick Heaney. Nathan Hoffer. Christopher James Langone. Jake Travis Marconi. Christopher E. McGovern. James Riley Mikulski. Adam Michael Oppenheimer. Christian Anthony Rebo. Michael Julian Sadej. Jeffrey James Sourman. Lowell Everest Schudel.
Allison Chan-hee Kim. Min Young Kim. Christina Alexandra Koskinen. Jenna Mackenzie Chisholm. Jill Lefkowitz. Kate Allison Lashinsky. Brianne Lee Meyer. Alexis Moran. Jumana Neshwat. Megan Marie Veronica O'Neill. Ashley Pagano. Caitlin Elizabeth Riley.
Matthew T. Schwartz. Frank Philip Siaka. Bryant P. R. Shapiro. Sorry. Dustin Sam Alper. Jacob Samuel Barr. John Matthew Brady. Thomas Richard Broddick. Brandon Scott Carp. John Paul H. Cho. Christian Philip Clark. Stephen Luke Dovich. James Christopher Edwards.
Alexandra Rokovic. Erin Elizabeth Tryon. Jacqueline Ann Wetzel. Jacqueline Marie White. Mina Yoon. Elise Marie Zinsmeister. Daniela Sophia Zubarev. Amanda Gabrielle Bemis. Miranda Mary Bemis. Sarah A. Altawi. Danielle Marie Bach. Caitlin E. Bicknell.
Stephen James Iman. Ryan Christopher Ertman. Anthony John Gandolfo. Andrew William Hayward. Max J. Hurd. Patrick Thomas LaBarbiera. Michael T. Lamoudi. Andrew Thomas Mamunis. Eric T. McCarthy. Ryan Patrick McMichael. Angel Daniel Mulcahy. William S. Olszewski.
Lauren Elizabeth Clark. Samantha Della Penna. Dana Jean Dench. Brittany Clara DiNardo. Nicole Feldman. Sophia Alexandra Garzon. Emily Rachel Greenberg. Sung Ah Huang. Catherine Imperato. Lindsay Ann Mayer. Elizabeth Ann Masters. Emily Stark Masters.
Andrew M. Unjan. Andrew M. Suglia. Zachary Paul Thomas. Colin Gabriel Verhoff. Frederick Dominico Buda Kuipers. Zachary A. Cashel. Mitchell Reed Cashel. Ryan W. Ayers. Gurasiz Singh Binapal. Kyungbei Choi. Eric Alexander Dela Cruz. Joshua Michael Elman.
Arista Maria Maniv. Julie W. Merritt. Olivia A. Norton. Allison Jean O'Neill. Meredith Lynn Rothhart. Stephanie Louise Sedor. Allison Rachel Slachter. Christina Mary Sonagiri. Hannah D. Sulia. Rachel Maggie Thomas. Maria Fernanda Ugarte. Nicole Elizabeth Verzi.
Kevin Francis Erico II. Kyung Jun Lee. Zachary James Levine. John R. Lockwood. Ryan Franklin Rogalinski. James Frederick Adler. Paul R. Fallon. Daniel Iverson Galvin. Stephen T. Gorin. Michael Vincent Height. Matthew Edward Hughes. Zachary P. Job.
Ryan Wilson. Kelly Ann Wise. Caitlin Marie Callahan. Ava Caruso Kanger. Rebecca Mary Korn. Casey Morgan Dunbar. Sarah Elizabeth Durso. Mia Lauren Gonzalez. Melissa Catherine Primrose. Jenna Brianne Santora. Erin Kathleen Sayre. Sonia Zutu West.
Christopher Thomas Keene. Stephen John Langle. Kevin Edward McGill. Nicholas S. Rossi. Christian Sanchez. Stephen J. Scanapico. Ryan David Trichetta. Duncan Paul Trost. Enoch Youngjun Yu. Scott William Cannon. Dominic Iannicone. Eric Franz Indeman.
Kerry Elizabeth Aarons. Casey Ann Colangelo. Emma Grace Collins. Eve Lasser. Alexandra L. Schulsinger. Emily Ann Capicchioni. Trisha Lynn Gregory. Austin S. Mateo. Olivia Lorraine Domage. Grace McLean Henderson.
Brandon Ujoa. Robert Francis Gebhard. Alexander Harais. Ryan William Karaher.
I would like to recognize those graduates who are members of our National Honor Society. This very high honor is indicative of one who has achieved significant success in the field of academics, as well as one who personifies the higher standards of service, leadership, and character. At this time, I ask our National Honor Society to please stand and be recognized. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to present to you our valedictorian, Miss Jennifer Garand.
Teachers, administrators, family, friends, and my fellow graduates, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on all that we've accomplished over the past 4 years. Some have earned the title of Deca Weapon. Some have been part of a New Jersey State Championship soccer team. Others have been in winning a cappella groups. Some have been recognized for their performances in the musicals. Others tied for third in the state in a robotics competition. Some were part of the Distinguished Journalism Award-winning newspaper. Some have even been published as illustrators. No matter what your niche is, we've all accomplished something noteworthy during our 4 years of high school. None of us had the intentions of accomplishing these tasks, though. In kindergarten, did you learn to write so that you could one day create 12-page papers analyzing critiques of Hamlet? Did you learn to kick a soccer ball with the hopes of being #1 in New Jersey? Did you learn to multiply so that you could one day solve differential equations? Was coloring within the lines simply a step on the way to being an AP Art? All of our success has been gradual. We haven't gone into life hoping to achieve. We've just let it happen to us. I really encourage you all to allow this to continue over the next few years. Let life happen to you, rather than searching it out and planning each little detail of it. For those of you who know me, this may sound a little different than my usual philosophy of figuring out how many kids I want and where I want to work and planning my entire wedding. Don't get me wrong. I still think you should plan and have a direction for your life. But leave room for the unexpected and learn to appreciate the surprises. Allow yourself to try something you've never tried before, without the fear of failure. This is the time for us to fail. This is the time for us to experiment, to learn, to grow. If you don't try something new now, you might never be able to. And in 20 years, you might look back on this with regret. So enjoy the next few years. It's our time to discover who we are and what we want. It's our chance to figure out who we want to be. Allow it to teach us the lessons we need to learn. I think that we will all find out that life has a bigger and better plan for us than we have for ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. Under the direction of Mr. Thomas Pastor, senior members of the concert choir will now perform our Alma Mater.
Far above the cities near, with its skies of blue, stands our noble Highlands dear, glorious to view. With colors red and black we stand to praise the
I would like to offer my heartfelt congratulations to the class of 2012 on this milestone. As your principal, it has been a joy for me to watch you mature into young adults who are now ready to conquer the next phase of your life. I am thankful to have been a small part of the experiences that have led to your graduation from Northern Highlands. As I look back on the last 4 years, I am truly amazed by your accomplishments. Of course, we encountered some trials and tribulations along the way, but as you all know, adversity and how you deal with it does make you a stronger person. As you graduate from Northern Highlands, please remember those influential people who have encouraged you and who have developed a love for learning that you can carry with you. I would be remiss if I did not congratulate your parents. You were only with us for 4 years, but your parents have been with you since the very beginning. They have nurtured and guided you. They have provided you with love and support. They have taught you right from wrong. Your parents are indeed your true role models. In closing, I would like to quote from the book, 50 Things to Always Remember and 1 Thing to Never Forget. Live to the fullest and make each day count. Don't let the important things go unsaid. Have simple pleasures in this complex world. Be a joyous spirit and a sensitive soul. Take those long walks that would love to be taken. Explore that sunlit path that would love to oblige. Make tomorrow happier by going there in a way that really matters. And don't ever forget that eventually dream chasers become dream catchers. I wish you everything that you so richly deserve. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as your principal. Graduates, please stand. Move your tassels to the left. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the class of 2012. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you for your help. Thank you. Congratulations. I'll take your brother home with you. Congratulations. Love you too. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you for your help.